I can't call him Johnny, he's Uncle Bubba, but he's my mother's brother. And my earliest recollections is he actually lived with us when I was growing up, when I was a young kid. So he stayed with us when he came down from Brenham to go to work in Houston. I saw him when he didn't have anything, because we didn't either. We didn't know that. We didn't know there was anything. I don't think it changed him as he was successful in business. Even though if he had money or didn't have money, he was pretty much the same person. He was a very instrumental with a lot of people, not just me. I've seen him mentor and be an inspiration to lots of people, lots of other folks in their businesses as well. So, just a good guy.
It was so normal in our household to do things to help. The best lesson I think that Dad taught us is if you have something to give, you need to give it. So whatever that is, if it's time, if it's money, if it's organizing, whatever your gifts are, you have to give those to other people that need them. That was probably the most important thing he taught us.
So much is given, much is expected. And with Boys and Girls Country in our backyard, it's something that we were reminded of all the time. And we all have busy lives, we all have children, we all have our own things going on, but it was always in the forefront to make sure that we did what we could to come over and pitch in wherever we were needed at Boys and Girls Country, because it was just something that he believed in, and it spread.
Mr. Schulte got us involved at Boys and Girls Country. He was a wonderful person when it came to giving back to people outside of his family or his friends. So it's one of the things that inspired me and my wife today to give to charities and give our time, if we can, volunteer whatever we can, as much as we can. Mr. Schulte always treated his employees, wherever he was, as family. He had a catchphrase that we all liked, and people kind of coined it and said what it was is, good people make great things happen. And so he's always inspired and tried to elevate people to make good decisions and make good decisions for their family. And so he was always someone that people followed. He was a true leader, not only in business, his personal life, but also in giving back to whatever community or organization it might be. And his actions were the inspiration that we followed.
Johnny was the type of individual that set an example for a lot of people. His integrity, his honesty, the way that he did business. He was a very direct individual. He was somebody that set a good example, not just in business, but in the community. He was a family man. He always talked about his family. He was so proud of his family. And when you were around Johnny, you didn't want to disappoint Johnny. You wanted to, get up to his level. Throughout business, through his entire career, he was a leader in his field, a leader in his business, very well respected. But Johnny was always sensitive to everybody's needs. It always had to be win-win for Johnny. He had to win, you had to win, and it was more important that you win. And I think Johnny, in most of his dealings, let everybody else win a little more than he won. Johnny was very active in the community. He was active with the Waller County Fair, the children selling animals. Johnny was a huge supporter of the Waller County Fair, Waller FFA, the Waller school system, of course a supporter of Boys and Girls Country. Almost anything that was worthwhile in the community, Johnny was active in.
I was fortunate enough to get to know Johnny through really two areas. One is the bank and Boys and Girls Country. But there was a common denominator to really both of those, and that was just his relationship style. But it was always impressive to me how Johnie could operate not only as an entrepreneur, but also in the corporate boardroom, and that everybody respected Johnie. And then coincidentally at Boys and Girls Country, I would hear about Johnie making donation and his involvement, and it always impressed me that Johnie was really a low-key supporter of Boys and Girls Country. He was very generous with his money, but also with his time. He would have these annual fishing trips where the kids would come out. And you could just see Johnie enjoying that really as if he was a kid himself and engaging with the kids. And so from every perspective, he was kind of giving back. You could tell he was really had his heart into it. So really his heart and his kindness, his kind of relationship orientation was really something that was a model for all of us.
He was such a humble man that he wanted to help, but he didn't want the recognition. He wanted to do everything he could, but he never wanted the spotlight. It's important because he wanted the work to go on somehow, some way, but he never wanted anyone to find out. He would have never have been happy receiving an award or receiving any kind of acknowledgement. It was just not in him. He just wanted to keep on doing what he could.
I think the main thing he would have wanted for people to do is pass it forward. You know, if somebody does something good for you and you're able to do something good for someone else, then you need to continue that and move forward with it and inspire people to do that however you can. Because it's fulfilling for you and it's fulfilling for everyone around you. And I think that was one thing that he tried to get across to people was you don't really know how good it feels to give until you do it. So just try it, you know, because you don't know what might happen. So that was important to him.